Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our most cultured and experienced podcast brother, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast. He is a two-time nominee for the Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA, and he is from the Republic of Kenya in East Africa. He has been a presenter at the Afros Audio Podcast Festival discussing Pan-Africanism, and he will be an ambassador at the 2024 Afros and Audio Podcast Festival. Hey, Sambaza.
Hey, how you doing, Jen? And how's
Hanging
everybody out
good, good. Glad to be with you guys for another week. Thank you for changing schedule, but that's okay. That's all right. Thank you for rocking with us, guys. We appreciate you following the content. We've had some really great episodes, and we appreciate everyone joining us.
right? But before we get into it, we have something special to show actually the listeners will hear, but the viewers will see. This is something great that we have been cooking around, and I appreciate your workmanship and your artwork and whatever you're doing. So, leave it to you.
Okay, we appreciate that. And so we'll just get right into it here. Have some visuals for you folks.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a yay visual that we created. It's a joint effort. I did kind of a lot of the legwork, but Sambaza had some contributions, and yeah, so wanted to share that with you guys. Oh, we have a comment.
MPN Network tells us bravo, bravo. Thank you.
Look at that. Well, thanks. Fantastic. So we definitely wanted to document this collaboration with some visuals. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yes,
and we might have to re-show that since we're a little early on for the people coming in.
Ed says, Campbell, One Love family. We appreciate Campbell. Thank you for showing up for us.
Okay, thank you. So we have to re-show that. So it's pretty quick, and we'll run those through the socials too. Had a nice little visual that we came up to document our collaboration. So glad to be here with you guys again. We have a great topic and guests for you all today. Today we'll be getting into Black Twitter. So you may say, what is Black Twitter? This episode will explore the multifaceted influence of Black Twitter, delving into its cultural, societal, political impact. And in particular, there's a series about Black Twitter. So we definitely wanted to have a conversation about this. And so we'll talk about the origins, significant moments, and the possible future of Black Twitter, and highlight some of the narratives and talk social justice narratives and things like that. So really excited to have another content creator join us today in this conversation. Any thoughts about our show, Sambaza?
Well, the person we're going to have today is really heavy on Black Twitter, and I'm anxious to have some questions regarding it because I still, even though we had a pre-talk about what Black Twitter was, but I still reserve some questions on my end regarding what Black Twitter is and what have you. So it's going to be a great conversation today.
Okay, sounds good. Looking forward to that as well, and looking forward to sharing that with you guys today. So let's get into our guest, if we will. So, our next guest is the founder of the MPN Network. He is a hip hop musician and media professional. He is the creator of the following podcasts. A few of the podcasts are Groove Sweet, Clear Visions, and The Table Might Wobble. The tables might wobble, which won a 2022 Black Podcasting Award for Best Black Music Podcast. He is also the host of programs on the internet radio station, The Sound of Duval. And we're so pleased to have this guest, Mr. LP. Welcome.
What's happening? What's happening? Good, well, not good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Hey,
I'm
welcome,
trying. I'm
sir.
trying to go back in time with y'all. My bad. My bad.
For sure. Thank you for joining us, Mr. LP. And we'll have an opportunity where you can share more with the people on the great things that you do in the community that you reside in. But we're glad to have you with us today.
Listen, thanks for having me. I appreciate and I love y'all platform. Love what y'all do individually and collectively. So ready to have this conversation.
All
Right
right.
on.
All right. Now, here's where it starts. Black Twitter began to take shape in the late 2000s and early 2010s. And as African American users increasingly use Twitter to discuss issues pertinent to their communities. Initially, it was a good space for sharing jokes and cultural references and personal stories, which helped create a sense of community among Black users on a platform. Memes, trending topics, and conversations such as hashtag Thanksgiving with Black families and hashtag Black Girl Magic showcase the vibrancy and creativity within the community. Now, here's my spiel before we start it all. And I think we all talked about it. When I first saw Black Twitter, I first um, looked and said, "Where is the login for this hashtag? Where do we log in?" Because for me, it had been created like some type of individualistic not program, but a thing on its own that you needed a password, username and password to go in. And I remember reflecting on that, and I said, "Oh well, I guess I'm not privy to that." And I just laid back and said, "Maybe this is one of those things I'll just hashtag." So I guess we'll have to start with there, and then after which we'll talk about which moments of Black Twitter stand out to you and why. But before that, let's start on that history of Black Twitter. Explain to us, some people really may not even know what Black Twitter is up to now.
Gotcha. So for the people that's watching Black Twitter, you do not have to have any type of logon, special logon, or password to jump on to jump on Black Twitter. It's a combination of things. So Black Twitter is I mean it's um predominantly black. You know what I'm saying? The black people that you follow or the black people that follow you. It's like this code that we have.
Mhm.
And what's the beautiful part about Black Twitter is that um before Black Twitter even became a thing, black people, we have a code. We have like these we have various codes that we have with each other. Like we walk past each other, like the bro head shake. Like it's like when two brothers walk past each other, it's like a what's up, like a is that code that we have. Women have like these extra codes that and men have these codes. So we all have these codes. It's just digital. So when you think about Black Twitter, all of those codes pour into Twitter in that regard. So and I think it heightens up a lot more because you have things happening in real time, and then when you bring hashtags in it, I think the hashtags really make it more prominent when it comes to the topic, the conversations, all of
Mhm.
those things. So essentially that's really what Black Twitter is. It's just basically what the codes and the ethics, the principles that Black people have that we share with each other without a certain demographic or people, or even the people within the people that are Black. Some Black people don't even be knowing sometimes, but it's this code that happens, and it just exists in this space, in the digital
Mhm.
space. And it's heightened up a little bit more because you're able to be with people on a daily basis versus like, when we was in school or when you went to the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question was about the moments on Black Twitter that stood out to you and why.
Oh man, there's so many moments that stood out to me. So some like a simple one, maybe like I love when people do like reflections when the new year comes, like it's that whole in 2000 and like you'll see it in December or whatever. So it'll be like in 2025, I'm gonna go buy me a big car, or in 2025, and some people just say like the most ridiculous things ever. But some people really be do reflecting off it. Like I think,
Right.
that's a period of time where you like, all right, in 2024, I made $10,000, but in 2025, I'm gonna make 15,000. But then you have people that joke off and be like, you know, I'm gonna go buy a football team, or you have some activists, people coming in and saying in 2025, you know, I'm filming every police officer that do anything wrong with my community, that type of stuff. So though that was like the simpler things, but I mean, just thinking off off top, man. I mean, the whole Thanksgiving spiel is
Okay.
always classic. It's always classic because I know for me, like, so Thanksgiving is like one of my favorite holidays. It's really my favorite holiday. It's like number one. Thanksgiving, I love to eat and I love to be around family and just really enjoy the time. And it's black families, man. When we get together on special occasions, it's always something. You know what I'm saying? You got, and this is with every family. You got the bougie auntie. You got the uncle that drank too much. You got the cousin that be like, look, let's go walk so we can go smoke. You got the cousin that ain't even black. They act like they white. Or it's all those things. But
This sounds like a movie. Like, is this a real? This
it
is a
sounds
real.
like sounds like a Tyler Perry movie. I don't know, but but
Right.
yeah, the Thanksgiving one is like the one that stands out to me the most because a lot of the clapbacks that happen, we have been thinking these things for years. Like, your auntie coming in bringing that potato salad that nobody's going to eat, but she has the smartest mouth. And then, just think about these clapbacks. It's so relatable. So
Okay.
that's like one of the main things. And of course, another main one is like, on a serious tip, when you think about police brutality, racial inequalities, though all those are always important to me. Those are always
Oh, for sure.
important because it gives people awareness of where the world stands at. Even if you're in your house, it's going to be brought to you.
Definitely. And then for someone who may not be familiar, how would you distinguish the difference? I mean, obviously, you kind of touched on some things that are specific to Black culture, but, someone just may not know at all. The difference between Black Twitter from the broader Twitter community.
The codes, principles, ethics, you know, we just got this code, man. Like we literally have like this language. We have this diction that we have that is so far fetched from like the broader. And when I say broader, meaning like, you just having general conversations. You go in there, you kind of say this, say that, this, and the third. But like when an event happens, the news people are going to tell you like the core story, like this person, got hit by a car, blah 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 blah. But in Black Twitter, we'll see that same story and be like, God damn, like it got swung on by the car. It's just like it's like, and it can be so disrespectful, but we all the Black Twitter understands where they're coming from because we're gonna make a joke out of it.
Mm,
When it comes to whatever, I don't care if it's like the good things and even the bad things, somebody's going to make a joke about it. Excuse me. And so that's like the difference between like the broader aspect of it. And it's funny because
mhm.
I notice it, and I'm on Twitter heavy, so
You are.
I noticed the difference. Like when I'm talking to my city council, or somebody in a government, in a government official space, versus when I'm talking to like a party goer, somebody that come to my party, and they be like, "Man, when you cut on that Usher last night, man, I had to do some things." And so the whole do some things can mean like 50 million things, but only Black Twitter will understand the whole do some things, especially when you
Mm,
give a emoji or you give like a GIF. So
okay.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like that
Yeah.
it separates us from the broader, like, the broader Twitter is like, man, I went to Al Pete party, I had a great time. But Black Twitter is like, yo, man, I had to make a phone call. Hey, big head, and you got the eyeballs. They're just like, all right, it's totally different from that.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. I wasn't I wasn't expecting that one. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
So do you have like a click sort of deal where there are people from different regions of uh, of the Black Twitter community
Mhm.
that will be talking, and you can tell, like, okay, this is not my region, there's something going on in that particular area that you may not be familiar with, but then they have their own lingo and be like, okay, that's a lingo from somewhere, judging
Mhm.
by when you say you're really heavy into it. Can you spot that?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to hip hop Twitter. When it comes to hip hop Twitter, you could definitely tell who's from the North, who's from Midwest, who's from the West Coast, who's from the South. And it's funny because it's so you can identify it so easily. When you're in person, you can kind of tell when somebody talking. Like they got a little, like for me in the South, I'm in the South, Florida to be exact, and like we just have we kind of stretch out our words a little bit. We kind of, we got that Geechee twang type of diction and enunciations and punctuations, all the things or whatever. So when I talk, people automatically like, oh yeah, he from the South, either from Atlanta or somewhere that he understand that. But when we're on Twitter, we can say something. We can say one little thing, and somebody automatically gonna be like, "Yeah, he not from New York." And I've been pinpointed on that a lot. And it's funny because I've been in like full conversations about music that's from up north, like from Philly, New York, or whatever, and I just be having a conversation, and people wouldn't think that I was from the South, but I might say something about like an outcast, or I might say a certain thing, or I might type it out a certain way, and somebody might be like, "Yeah, you ain't from here. I thought you was from up here, but you're not from up here." So that's the one that I experienced a lot when it comes to hip hop Twitter. The regions are like very, very strong. And it's so funny because it's so digital. Like there's no voices, there's no video on Twitter like that. Like, you just tweet, and you just, it's text based.
Mhm.
So there's no audio, there's no video consistently in that regards. And I think it's just funny how people can pinpoint you out. So that's just hip hop. So I can imagine it's like that with a lot of other things.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we went through the whole spiel of looking at the hashtags. I know we talked about hashtags. You talked about some hashtags here. Um, we're gonna go a few of them and kind of ask which ones are memorable, and maybe talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
Of course, there's the hashtag Black Lives Matter, which was sparked by the acquittal of George Zimmerman in the shooting of Trayvon Martin, where he shot him to death, and the hashtag became a rallying cry against police brutality and systematic racism. Um, so the impact of it is that it catalyzed a global movement for racial justice, and of course influencing policy changes. Now, in your own words, what do you think about that hashtag, the Black Lives Matter?
I think it's powerful. I think till this day it's still powerful. I mean, when was Trayvon Martin was what 2014, 15-ish, I want to say. I'm not sure, but all I know is, well, for one, from personal experience, for me to experience this, and this was literally in my backyard. Like this happened an
Okay.
hour and a half away from where I stayed at, from where I stay at. I'm in Jacksonville. This happened in basically in Orlando area. So for this to be happening 2 hours away from me was crazy. And at the time, my son was 15, 14, 15. So he might have been a year younger than Trayvon Martin. So I just want to say that experience right there for one was crazy. And then right after that, we had Jordan Davis that happened. That unfortunately happened. Jordan Davis happened in Jacksonville, Florida, like where I stay at. So
Oh wow.
that
Okay.
was a whole nother, you know what I'm saying? So for Trayvon to happen and then turn around Jordan Davis happened in our city, like that was a whole nother thing. So we had already been thinking that we don't care, like people don't care about black people anyway. We've been experiencing
Mm-hmm.
that for
Mm-hmm.
years. So that was nothing new. But for the revolution to like be televised, on Twitter like that, and for that to be so prominent and for it to spark so much great things as well as bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say bad things, meaning like you think about Blue Lives Matter, like all of a sudden, and it's no disrespect to anybody's lives. We just talking about our lives. So we not dismissing anybody else stuff. We just want to bring awareness to what we're experiencing. But
Right.
when they came out with that Blue Lives Matter stuff, I'm like, come on, G, like that's y'all the reason why we even put in this for us creating the Black Lives Matter. Like, what are we talking about? Like, why would you even say something like that? I just felt like that was pure ignorance and just a complete slap to like the African American community globally. So for Black Lives Matter to happen and it still be a factor, we're going on what 10 years of this
Mm-hmm.
specific movement still going on, and for us to be part of it, I take pride in that. And I think it's going to be more to come when it comes to the Black Lives Matter, because legislations have been tested. um People have, I mean, when I say tested, meaning like laws have changed as well as laws has been created, i.e.,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know if it's anywhere else, but in Florida, like it's a rule, like we can't even protest to that degree. And that
Mm-hmm.
they wrote that into it, all because of the whole Black Lives Matter and et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay.
you got that type of fish that you got to fry, as well as it's cool to promote this type of movement to the people that's coming up, and for us to really take ownership and really see where our parents was. Our parents was in the streets, like they was dealing with like the civil rights movements and you know Rodney King and all this stuff. But this is our type of movement in our day and age, and I think it's very monumental that we have that, and we stand by it, and the changes that are going to happen is going to be like tremendous. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes more out of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me throw this other one in here again. Hashtag Ferguson, which was in 2014. It was exclusively during the protests following the shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Now, it highlighted the police militarization and sparked nation conversation about race and policing in the United States.
Mm. Yeah, Ferguson. I want to say. I mean, I don't want to say nothing is more or less. When it comes to all the unfortunate police brutalities and racial discriminations and stuff, but the Ferguson one was like the Ferguson joint was on. It was up, like it was from all angles of it. For some reason, the Ferguson action just it was just loud. It was righteous. It was unfortunate. It was fortunate. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just so loud. Like so, I'll take one small part of it. I'll take the journalistic side of it. Right? It was like this new wave of journalism that was occurring during Ferguson that a lot of people we just wasn't going to get on our daily news or whatever. Like, daily news was cool. It spoke how it spoke, but I don't know. We just took a lot of that stuff in our own hands, and
Mhm.
it just brought a lot of attention to a lot of people. And when I say loud, meaning like one minute we on Twitter joking off, next thing you know, you seeing civilians throwing like tear gas back at the police. Like, what's happening?
Right.
Like with a hashtag, and then you can go on that. You can click the hashtag and see everybody's comments. So everybody is giving their commentaries. You got people like I think Complex. Complex was like on the streets, like
Mm.
Complex. The brand, the cultural brand. Complex was on the streets, like feet to the ground. That was a whole different type of journalism. You know what I'm saying? And we needed to see that. Like the world needed to see that. The people that doubted police brutality, that doubted that, oh well, we're not discriminating against black and brown people, this that, and the third. And it was like, nah, it got exposed because it was like right there in real time. So that Ferguson,
Definitely.
when it comes to like civic movements and stuff like that. Like Ferguson was just loud. It was loud, and even till this day, like people reference Ferguson a lot. You know what I'm saying? Out of all of them, not saying none of them, the other ones aren't important because all of it is. But that Ferguson was just loud, and it was very loud on Twitter for sure.
Okay. I think when you look at it in terms of journalism, well, I know you brought that angle, and I've heard it being mentioned on some radio stations, prominent radio stations, that it did change the way culturally they would advertise, like CNN, NBC, and other news, because now the demographic of people will be like, we don't want to watch what CNN is showing, because at that point you're going to show me a snapshot, maybe a 20-second snapshot of whatever is really going on out there. Whereas if I'm going to go to the hashtag, I'm literally going to see the real deal explained by the people who are actually there with their emotions, because they there's some type of story that is being told, or narrative that is being run on these big time networks, that is not going to be run at that local level or down on the ground. So there's going to be there's a loss of communication of what the narrative is, and whatever they try to paint the narrative, remember, because they do get paid, and it's news crew, uh, you're gonna get this person who is some Joe who just wants to tell the truth, and when he tells the truth as he sees it, that's what journalism had to change so that people could see what was going on out there. So
Absolutely.
I guess that's the reason why Ferguson really came out with that type of force, to where it
Yeah.
changed the dynamics of reporting.
Yeah. Real quick, let me mention this too. Like you got to think about Twitter. Twitter has influencers, creators on there.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
even if nobody knows about what's going on, the influencer that's tapped in, so that might be the famous journalist, the famous newscasters, or even just the person that's in the community, like a rapper or a singer or a producer, whoever the case may be. Like they might be there and they might give the story to us. So the influencer might tweet out and say, Black Lives Matter, look at this crap that's happening in Ferguson. Next thing you know, the influencer got, 15,000 followers, is touching at least 5,000. You see how news just expands like that? Like it's already bad enough people don't trust CNN and Fox and all that other stuff. So when you have your influencers, they become the journalists. They become the people that tell the stories and whatnot. So And then that's
Mhm.
when the stories get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then people get more tapped into the Black Lives Matter, to the Fergusons, and to the, what is it, Sandra Bland? It's Sandra, is the last name Bland, right?
Land. Mhm.
Yeah, Sandra Bland's like that. All of these things are important. You know what I'm saying? So just the way that news was moving at the time, and it just it set a whole new ground on how people get their information. And it made the CNNs and the Foxes and the CBSs be like, look, let's create a TikTok account or let's go live on Instagram and
Mhm.
use the tag, you know what I'm saying? And so they can be one with the people. But yeah, that's just one of many things. I mean, like, we're not even talking about like the activism aspect of it, like how
Mhm.
it birthed so many conversations about police brutality. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
people didn't even think about police brutality until you look on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody teenager coming to their dad and being like, "Dad, like what's this? Like, why is this black man laid on the ground? And
Mhm.
why isn't anybody doing anything about it?" So he going to his friends at school, the dad going to his work to talk about it, and it just you build these like sub communities. You don't
Mhm.
even know it, you know what I'm saying? And then these people have
Right.
conversations, and then it's like an automatic pushback to the people who don't think that Black Lives Matter. It make people fold.
Right.
It make people think like, yeah, you know what? We are dishing out inequalities when it comes to these people, and we got to make change and do it, or we're going to like be more forceful and be more aggressive with our approach, so we can get the rights that we deserve.
Right, right. Jen, do you have any hashtag you want to highlight before I
You
highlight mine?
know, and just a blurb about Ferguson. You mentioned that the influencers and rappers and things like that, but it was regular people that were capturing some of those moments, and the news couldn't help but to, go talk to some 15, 16-year-old kid because they literally had, video and stuff like no one else had seen. One of the journalists, local journalists, well, she's since moved on, Brittany Noble, was like one of the first ones on the scene to talk to his mom. And like that whole interview is just so emotional because she's literally finding out, Michael Brown has passed, and he literally, his body was on the ground for 4 hours. And like, I've had done a couple shows about Ferguson, being from St. Louis. One I will mention is the one with Tori Russell, which is episode 80, which I did look up to reference because he actually was one of the leaders of the Ferguson movement here in St. Louis. And he was on the show. We had a really deep conversation about it. Literally 100 days, and he was there like every day.
Mhm.
So, I went out there because, it's just like you just had to see it with your own eyes being in the city, and it really is close to where I am. There's all these little, sub communities, and it's literally like a really close sub community to where I am. And the point. No, but like I said, so regular people were capturing these things. Like literally, there's some really graphic video of him laying out that some kid just captured because this is how irresponsible the police cared for that whole situation. And don't even get me started on like how the matter was handled and the body improperly. Like it was just ill. The whole situation was just very ill handled. But so that one really strikes out at me. And then also say her name because you mentioned Sandra Bland, and that one impacted me too, being a black woman. And then this could potentially happen to me or any other sister out here. You have you're on your way somewhere, and maybe you are agitated in a mood or what have you, and you can question the police. Maybe someone may give you advice that you can't or you shouldn't or what have you, but she did. And and we see the actions that happen, and that one's just really kind of strikes me and invokes really a lot of emotions because, well, this could happen to me or my sister or someone else, just for being pulled over. whatever the tail light or whatever it was. So those two in particular, Sambaza.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, we'll move on to something more fun. Um, what about the hash Black Girl Magic? I know. It's something that we need to talk about it. I guess we've gone through it. Now we're gonna go to the hashtag Black Girl Magic, originated around 2013, coined by Kashawn Thompson to celebrate beauty, power, and resilience of Black women. Um, what do you think about that, Al?
I feel like so the whole I'm and my math or my time might be off,
Hmm.
but I feel like that was around the pocket, like the black girl magic, say her name, um, the Me Too movement. It was like this whole like woman revolutionary type of thing happening. I don't know. I feel like it was around the same time periods when all that happened. When it
Hmm.
was like women was like very, like in the in the know, like it was like this heighten of like women's rights and women being empowered. Like and I feel like those hashtags definitely came up. So the black girl magic joint was it was on. It was a positive enforcement or whatnot, and it highlighted women. It really kind of put women in the. And I don't want to say women never been in this spot because respectfully, I feel like women have been in a spot, but I guess from when we talk about, uh, you know, I guess the time periods or whatever, it was around this time that women became like, okay, like we here, like women are
Yeah.
here. But and I had to think about it too, because I'm thinking like back in like I would say from like 2000 to like 2000 and when did Black Girl Magic come out? Like you said it, 16, right?
2015 there.
All right, so even
2013. 2013.
between
Sorry.
2015 to 2020, that's when like a lot of like it was all about women. You know what I'm saying? It was all
Mhm.
about black women, black magic. It was like women were getting a little bit more in these spaces that they need to be getting into. I mean, that's when you get, our VP being kind of in the light a little bit more before she
Mhm.
becomes our VP.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, look, you have Michelle Obama. She was gracefully being in the position that she was in. That was black girl magic times a
Mhm.
million. Like we didn't know anything wrong about uh darn Michelle Obama. Like she walked that at that she walked her role with so much grace. Like I'm talking about like the way that queens walk. Like she was her and President Obama, they were like the example of being such. So you have Michelle Obamas, you have um I mean the Issa Raes, you have all of these women, these black women being extremely excellent
Mhm.
without really needing to have a male cosign or have a man next to him. It was just like this. It was like this thing, and I really feel like that would have occurred at some point, even without the Me Too movement to say her names or whatever. I think Black Girl Magic really just stood on its own. It just helped kind of balance life out,
Mhm.
having the say her names and the Me Too movements happen as well. But that Black Girl Magic, that movement was like crazy. And that movement is still going on to this day. And listen, don't mess around and see a 5-year-old doing something great. A 5-year-old black girl, it's a
Yeah.
wrap. Like it's
Yeah.
black girl magic, period.
Okay.
That's true.
For
That's true.
sure.
Now
Definitely.
I'll throw in this one. The one you actually mentioned that you like it, so I'll toss this one. Hashtag Thanksgiving with Black Families, which started around 2015 or 2015. And users were they shared humorous memes and relatable, honorable memes and relatable memes regarding Black family and Thanksgiving traditions. Uh, that would be celebrated around that time. What would we see in terms of that particular hashtag? I'm really curious because we talk about eating and the itis and the pudding, and then you got the family that comes in, and you have all those family dynamics. What have you seen in that hashtag when you go through it?
Wasn't the I don't know Jen. Well, I would say Jen because I feel like she's more on Twitter. But like didn't the whole like low vibration plates thing start from the Thanksgiving? You know what?
No, that was
Did
actually
okay,
no.
okay, okay. I don't know, but I feel like maybe the low vibration started before. I don't know, but all I know is it was this one Thanksgiving, and it was like everybody kept talking about these low vibration plates, and so I didn't even know what,
I think it spilled over.
okay, it's so
Oh,
like somebody will post a plate, you know what I'm saying, and if the plate looked like piss po, then you know what I'm saying, then it would just be like the clap back, like this dumb plate,
Hilarious.
get them yams out of here, like it look like macaroni and cheese from a box or something like that. So you see those type of memes. One of my favorite memes is like I think it's a picture of Obama, and Obama like has like the parts in his head, and he got he does the tongue thing like the
Oh no, I know what you're talking.
you know what I'm talking about. But it was like when your drug dealing cousin come to the come to dinner, so it showed.
Oh god. Sheesh.
So it's just so it's that type of like those memes, those gifts, like uh you definitely going to see like the Mary J. Blige like memes or whatever. Like when your auntie dressed like Mary J. Blige and they had like a video talking about go Mary, and it's like this person dancing like Mary J. Blige. Because it's like you see those pictures and you like, I got an auntie that literally be wearing like the highest boots when she comes into dinner. And then you got the grandma that's gonna clap back at you like, what happened to the girl that you brought to dinner last year? Why she ain't here? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is and the grandma would say it in front of the new girl, and the
right.
new girl for some reason the new girl don't even understand when she's going to the like the pre-conversation hadn't happened in the car, like the you know what I'm saying, the guy did not have the pre-conversation with the girl like, hey, last year I brought so and so, and you coming over here. So it might be a chance that, you know what I'm saying, grandma Lula might be like, where the other girl at? So just don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Let it pass. So you'll see memes like that. You'll see like conversations like that. But the clapback is I mean, I had it's that's the most funniest thing that I've seen, man. Like
Okay.
every time somebody posts, it's funny. It's just like
Yeah,
an ongoing type of funny.
definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was funny. I think we need to take a break and go with the questions here that sorry, you had me laughing here. So Ed Campbell has a question. What solutions do you offer to stop he calls it KKK, that's kings killing kings? I think this is in reference to whatever is happening on Black Twitter. And then it says, "Wake it up, my brother." Maybe the question, what do you think?
Kings killing kings
Kings.
killing kings.
Right. Have you ever had this thing on the Black Twitter? Has that topic ever gone out there?
Um, I mean, maybe indirectly, but nothing like heavy. If it's something heavy, I missed it for sure.
Okay.
But I mean, you hear it in passing, brothers stop killing each other, that type of situation. Or what I mean, you see that often for sure, but
Mm,
nothing detailed to where it was like, okay, well, somebody's having a legit conversation. So I might have missed that.
okay.
Have anyone of y'all came across something like that? Or
No, I haven't.
yeah.
Maybe Brother Ed was trying to maybe wake it up. So he goes on and says, "We need pro-black leaders controlling Black Lives Matter. We can never solve black issues with Europeans controlling our leaders? Okay.
I mean, we're in a capitalistic world, man. Look at the situation with DEI. Like, look at that. Look how DEI is rolling out. Like that. If that ain't a slap in our faces, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a slap in our face.
And to
Like,
be fair, a lot of these cities, especially that's had some of these big cases, had blacks. I want to say black women as the leader, but sure enough, someone steps down or they get made to step down. So, but yeah, I mean, maybe he's not necessarily a police leader, but I'm just thinking that there have been a lot of law enforcement leadership.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. So the
yeah.
next one Ed says is Black Lives Matter was funded by who? Whoever funds a movement controls it. That's for sure. So we must invest collectively in our communities and platforms so we can control our narratives, etc. Mm. Then it says low vibration. LOL.
Low
Okay.
vibration plays. Get them things out of there.
Oh Lord. And
Oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, so Black Lives Matter, like you mentioned, it was a powerful hashtag, but the only thing that's bad about it is that, I guess later on, as the years went on, we saw that some of the activists behind the hashtag in particular, not the homie Tory Russell, but some of the other activists, didn't necessarily have our best interests, and maybe, we're all about getting funds for themselves and not necessarily the movement and the people who it needed to go to and things like that. And so, because of that and the news and the media coverage, it seems like that hashtag is tainted by those actions. We even see it kind of characterized on a television program. I think we talked about that, Al, an episode of ATL or an episode of Atlanta where they, kind of poke fun at these activists, manipulating the system and manipulating the movements and things like that. And, even though they made like a funny moment out of it, it's kind of sad, in a way. So thoughts on that, actually? Because that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like, the same power that the hashtag had gets tainted by some of these actions.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put my take on this, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because I'm trying to think and respond in a low vibrant way. Go ahead,
You
Sambaza.
know what?
I am looking at it in terms of a tree, right? This is a powerful tree that's grown so tall. But as much as you might try, any small thing that happens to that will stop this tree from growing is what now the bad elements are coming in, right? And in order to push it, to push the narrative that, hey, black lives don't matter, right? They start creating fires here and there, but it can't burn
Mhm.
the tree. The tree is already grown. They So these little fires here create just whatever side shows, right? But if you look at it as a whole, collectively what it's done, Black Lives Matter has done a whole lot, brought in a whole lot of recognition and change towards the way people perceive the black man.
Mhm.
And that hashtag is not, it's not only for the US. That one has amassed all over the world to any person who's black, even to the people in Africa.
Mhm.
That hashtag still lives along. And when things happen in Africa and somebody puts in hashtag Black Lives Matter, it'll still come back to the US, and people will be like, wait a minute, what are we seeing here on hashtag, Black Lives Matter, and it's happening in
Mhm.
Africa? And then people can chime into it and be like, okay, we're all going in together on this particular issue. So I can say yes, you're always going to have the bad apples. Always the bad apples will always make the good apples sound bad, sound bad, and will kind of try and triumph everything. But underneath, it's still a powerful thing. So
Okay.
that's my contribution on that.
I get that. I get that.
Mhm.
Al.
I
Give it,
don't.
bring it.
Um. Yeah, man. I'm sitting here. I'm really sitting here trying to give like a really good thought process about this, but um, I don't know. It's just a bunch of bad apples in the spot, and we just have to get those
Yeah,
bad apples out of the place. And
sure.
regardless if it's our cousin or if it's like
Yeah,
what they say, all skin folk ain't kin folk or something like that. What?
Right.
true. True. Zordan and Harrison. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that. So that, you know what? I'm gonna leave it right there because I don't want to get too ugly on it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like that stuff exists, and greed and the misfortunes and all that stuff is very prominent, in our
Mm-hmm.
field. And a lot of people you think will be for the cause, but you have capitalism that exists. People got to pay bills, and they have easier access to resources that a lot of people don't have. So if they feel a way that they can blind you know turn a blind eye to something or someone and all that, and they gonna do it, we got to catch them and get them out the way so we can be able to really use these funds and really be able to like push these movements how we want to push them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us, well, I want to say us, I feel like a good amount of people turn the blind eye to a lot of these things because it's our kinfolk, what I'm saying, because it's
Right.
our mom and stuff like that. And we just have to really be logical about these things. Like, do we really want change? Yes. So that means we got to get these people out of here. Like, we got to get
Mm-hmm.
certain situations and we got to remove them, especially when the tree, as Sambaza said, grows. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if the tree gonna keep growing, leaves going to keep falling or branches start falling. Like, it's,
Right.
it's it's heavier it's heavier things falling from the tree as it grows. So if you prep yourself for it, these things wouldn't happen. And I think we need to be
Right.
more attentive to those things. So that's my
Right.
that's my that's my small spiel
No,
before I
I love
get before
it.
I get
I
real
love it.
ugly.
No, I love it. We can't let that be a distraction to what is the greater, which I love that Sambaza kind of woke that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to that.
And I think I've been told this, and it's that we do our stuff our way, right? As Black people, the way those stuff gets done, we have our way of reporting it and saying it out loud. It's not that they don't have any scandals on their part and everything they do, right? But it's just the way they hide it. They have a way of hiding it and trying to, like you said, capitalism also matters, and the way it came out, like that famous football quarterback who was allegedly having something going on at the time of pandemic, and his was hidden, and up to now it's still cleansed out, and it's nothing being put out there.
Oh, you talking about
Ooh.
that boy? You talking about that old boy from the Packers?
Yeah. Now, had
Yeah.
it been, one of us,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, would have stripped him down completely to whatever and said everything, even try to get to know what his mama said about all those things. You know what I'm saying? It's a way that which things are brought out that is different,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just our culture, right?
Listen. Wrong is wrong, but at the same
Right.
time, too, at least they over there, they gonna pay for their kids' school. We gonna be over here buying damn Cadillacs and having damn parties, bringing guests, bringing Rick Ross to the party.
Okay, but where's the beer being brought from? Where does the DJ come from? Where is the person who's coming to hustle and sell the stuff? It's around the community, right?
Yeah,
So the money is moving around the community. Otherwise, if you're gonna save your kid and your kid goes to school and it's only your kid going to school, hey, guess what? the person who was supposed to come and buy the beer from the corner store ain't gonna be buying it and bringing it over and try to sell it over there at cheap. So it's it's a way of working itself.
Look at somebody cooking. Look at somebody
Ah,
cooking. Oh,
I,
snap.
Hey,
touche, touche. I touche.
All right. Okay, let's move it
DJing
on.
on the ones and twos. DJing on the ones and twos.
Oh, snap. Okay. I
I got
think,
one thing though, as we're moving along, Jen. I
yeah.
got, when you say you're heavy on Twitter, on Black Twitter, how many hours would you spend on Twitter? Because I don't think we've talked about this conversation, as in at large.
Let me see. Cause with all respects, like I kind of fell off on Twitter for a minute. Just
Mhm.
because I had to like really think about like why I'm on there. Um, and yeah, I had to fall back on it. But like on the average, I mean, oh man, I mean, I'm giving Twitter well, average like 6 to 8 hours a day,
Mm,
regardless if I'm scrolling or posting or whatever. Like and
that's
part
a
of
lot.
what's that again?
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but I
That's
mean,
a lot.
like, so like I know, in the mornings I get up and I like Twitter is my newspaper.
Mhm.
So I literally go on there and like check the news, check what people are talking about. Like I go to the people who I follow, like the Roland Martins, uh, the Griot,
Mhm.
those type of platforms, and I'll just read the information that they give. Double XL, all of them. So I'll be on there. That's an hour or two, and that's me getting my day started, like me making my cup of tea, going, drinking my tea. Like it's literally like how a newspaper is. So that's 1 to 2 hours gone right there. Then I'm throughout the day, I'm giving 2 hours. It might not be a full 2 hours, but it might be in sporadic. So I might give 30
Mhm.
minutes here, 30 minutes there. Nighttime before I go to bed, I'm giving another hour or two. And
Mhm.
that's just a regular day. We're not talking about if something pops off in the culture. If something
Right.
pops off in the culture, I'm immediately going to Twitter. I'm not going nowhere else. I'm going to
Okay.
Black Twitter to see what the business is.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. But I mean, respectfully, I'm on there. And another thing too, I'm just on my journalistic kick. So,
Mhm.
I'm in the world of media, communications, stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I'm on there to see what's going on in the world. Shout out to the C4. You know what I'm saying? We a podcast family. So like, when I'm on Twitter, if I see something important for us, I'll bring it to the table. We all have done that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Sambaza has put me up on a bunch of stuff. Jen definitely has put me up on a bunch of stuff, and a good little bit of that stuff comes from Twitter. So
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, that's pretty cool.
that was a good question, though. Like me thinking
Mhm.
about like my
Mhm.
time. That was a good question.
All right.
For sure. And so we kind of dabbled in some of this about the role that Black Twitter plays in shaping our culture and trends. Any thoughts on that? But the role that Black Twitter plays in shaping our online culture and trends.
All right, prime example. The What was it? The boat fight in
Okay.
Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Within 24 hours, we was able to create so much content.
Mm,
We created so much content. I'm talking about, think about a 24-hour span of people all around the world. And I'm talking about all around Black Twitter specifically. We created so much content. We pushed that culture so hard.
mm,
if and we do it with everything else. Like when it comes to fashion, when it comes
Mhm.
to uh social commentary, when it comes to music, when it comes to film, when it
Mhm.
comes to all of that stuff, Black Twitter definitely has a hold on a lot of that stuff. Like people be trying to find access to Black Twitter just to get the information or just to find out what's cool and what's not. Like people would pay more attention to their Black followers and stuff like that to see, hey, they talking about this over here. Whether they want to like joke off about it or they want to take it to their e-board meeting and say, let's try to capitalize off this. Like it happens, it's prominent, and it really isn't going anywhere at all. It's going to just get bigger and bigger
Mhm.
in certain realms, but it definitely has a steady growth to it. But I wanted you to give that example of the fight on the boat.
Mhm.
I just want people to really understand, like within those 24 hours, we laugh for 24 hours straight. But when we think about like the content that was produced, we are some great people, man. We are some Black people are some very creative people.
Creative. I was just thinking
We
that
some very
creative.
creative people.
Mhm.
And we can really turn that into some form of economics if
Mhm.
we really wanted
Mhm.
to. I try not to get too deep into these type of things because I know people just want to joke and get away from life. Escapism is
Mhm.
real, but there's a way to capitalize off this and really be able to have some economic value with the type of moves that we have and the influence that we have in the culture.
Okay, it sounds like you trying to sell some high vibrational plates or something. There you go.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Jen. Hi. Hi.
Yeah. Okay, I like it.
You
Yeah.
I
know, one
like
thing
that.
I wanted to point out today, I saw a video of the fight that fight.
Oh God.
Yes, but on a different angle. Somebody was inside the. You remember the guy with the chair, the old man with the chair, who just picked up the chair and just hit one of the guys, and we're like, "Ooh, this old guy must have been." To us, would saying it must have been somebody who must have been irked on something that happened way before, and he just found that opportunity and just hurt him so bad he picked up a chair and hit him. But we only had from his back. Now somebody had the film from the inside and only released it like about maybe this past week. This past week, I just spotted it online
Hmm.
the other day. I just wanted to throw that in.
Listen, it's gonna
Nice.
be a whole it's gonna be a whole anniversary when they come around. I think I was like August 4th or something like that. So that anniversary coming,
Mhm.
we finna get a whole nother wind of content and laughs and all that stuff. It's coming.
Mhm.
They got the amphibian man now. They got somebody became famous out of that. The amphibian dude, the one who swam across, who jumped in the water.
Oh yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? you were oh
And
Sambaza.
Oh,
you know what? Like you said, it created a trend in the culture. People did not think that black people can swim, and here's
Mm.
this guy who jumped in the water and swam right across, and that was a distance.
He's a
See, that
lifeguard.
conversation.
oh, he was
Yeah,
a lifeguard. I didn't know that.
I think so. I think
Oh,
so.
Hey, black people can swim. I mean, well,
Some of them.
obviously.
that's a good example in the heat of things, and that's a distance. That's not a short distance, guys. Look, I'm telling you, that was not a short distance, and the speed at which he swam to get across.
Mhm.
No, you had to have been very, very fit to be able to swim like that. So shout outs to him when he did that. He promoted some swims. I'm pretty sure there are maybe 5, 6 kids who may have benefited from that, watching that and saying, you know what, I want to go swim.
For real. Straight up.
Yeah.
Or I
Interesting.
mean, not promoting violence, but somebody might have been
Yeah.
like, look, I need to learn how to protect myself. Or you know what I'm saying? So I
Mm.
might need to go take these classes to, for to know how to manage violence or whatever the case may be. Or I mean, or even to be a comedian. I mean,
Mm.
whatever. Something
Okay.
was inspired by all of that for sure.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I shared this with you, Al, that I don't like violence, and a lot of people, made this a big moment, but I thought it was kind of an ugly moment because of the violence, and I was not necessarily a fan of that, and that so much attention was given to a fight, such a gruesome fight too.
No, I listen. I agree. I ain't gonna front y'all. It took me a minute or two to finally just jump on board with the jokes. Like at first, I ain't gonna lie. My first thoughts, I was like, "Oh man, niggas fighting again. This don't look good."
You know,
But I thought, but you know, you know, I don't know, man. I just try to balance life out. You know what I'm saying? And somebody came with the Good Times song on a video, and I lost it.
okay.
Now,
Oh
we,
Lord.
now we know that Black Twitter has influenced mainstream media and popular culture. Uh, when it comes to the elections, how does the hashtag Black Twitter play with regard to Black people voting and who they choose to vote? Being
Oh
that
man.
at times when it's an election year, there's that idea of, are you going to vote Republican, are you going to vote Independent, or are you going to vote, Democrat? Where do your thoughts lie in terms of community? How are we going to get people to go out and vote? Call people and say, hey, it's time to vote. Let's go out as a community to vote. And some places now, they're not going to be able to bring people to, you cannot go bus people to a polling station, or you cannot give water to people in a polling station to help them out, when they stand in those lines. How will the hashtag now on how will hashtag Black Twitter help people with these type of issues and hurdles regarding the politics? Let's just go politics.
Good question. So people are still trying to figure out how social media plays a role in politics. Like we got to remember, like Obama was the first like star, the first like like social media star, political star.
Mhm.
So it's like it's not far. We're not far away from that. It's not like this thing,
Mhm.
It wasn't like Abraham Lincoln was, a star on social media, and these type of things, these legislative moves or these policies or whatever are in place for us to kind of like guide it a little bit. So people still trying to figure that out. So you just need somebody who is like social media savvy to be able to teach these things and maybe create a whole nother hashtag, you know what I'm saying, that
Hmm.
could tie into Black Twitter or that hashtag or whatever, and go at it from that angle and really kind of be the whisperer. Not even a whisperer. I mean, because Black Twitter doesn't have a whisperer, but like, if you got the information, if you got the juice, you know what I'm saying, bring it back to the culture, bring it back to Black Twitter and be like, hey, this is what they're doing. Like, don't do this, say that, make sure that this is in order, this, that, and the third. Like, we need those type of people to, in place to be able to speak to the people that really don't understand these form of languages. And you gotta think about it too. It's a lot of misinformation, disinformation out there. So you need somebody out there that really, really understand, like, really understand like the who's pushing the narrative in that direction. Because you know, some some punk ass Republican to come on and be like, "Oh man, you know, if you don't have this, you can't vote," and that could discourage a whole crew of people. But you
Mhm.
need to have somebody like a Roland Martin be like, according to da 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 da, this is this and the third. And so, I'm not throwing all this information on the people that can speak the justice or speak some sense into people to get out and vote and do the right things for legislative moves. We gotta like make some effort to like learn media literacy as well too. So it's a balance. It's a back and forth type of situation that needs to exist, and that's where it starts. And
Yeah.
then once that starts, then we can think about some other type of actions because people are still fascinated by the fact that, I mean, look at Trump. Like, people people was people was coming to Twitter that went on Twitter to read Donald Trump's tweets, not go to CNN, not go to like a paper or whatever the case may be. I mean, people will go on to TV and paper and all and radio, all this other stuff, right? But people that don't even have Twitter accounts was looking at tweets that Donald Trump was saying. Donald
Mhm.
Trump, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's powerful. And
Definitely.
people were like really looking at his words and being like, you know what? I'm a question my position when it comes to Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever. Like, people, like, you know what I'm saying? So we need people in
Mhm.
these places that will give the right information and give the right wisdom and the courage to the people who think twice about how, how to vote or who to vote for.
For
Okay.
sure. I had a thought with you when you were talking, Al, um, about being savvy with social media and such like that. Whichever leader is really going to capture, there's all this talks about how do you get the young people engaged and how do you get people at the polls, and really, that is someone who is technologically savvy in that way. I know I was in a clubhouse room this afternoon and someone put chat GPT prompt about Trump's 2025 project 2025. So basically, like, God forbid, Trump gets in there, this is his project 2025, 900 pages. Okay, somebody said, okay, I need the cliff notes.
Right.
And literally, so when Chat GPT did, and so in the link, I was like, oh, let me send this link somewhere. I'll send it to Sambaza. I don't know if you read it, but I literally text you the link that somebody put, and this is literally like today. It's so crazy that, this is how fast information moves, though. So that 900 plus page plan. God forbid if we end up in a world of Trump, we need to know what the hell's going on. So I'm like, okay, let me send this somewhere so I can look at this later. You know what I mean? Because like we need to know. So we need someone that can be, the whole point was being savvy like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need somebody savvy. You need somebody
Mm-hmm.
that's you know, majority of the time we on Twitter, well, most people are like joking off, you know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think a lot of people aren't taking Twitter as serious as it is, as they should. Not saying, yeah, they're not taking it as serious. But you need somebody that's going to be kind of in the middle. You need that person you need a couple of people that represent that, like, okay, this is the artistic way of doing things. This is,
Mm-hmm.
y'all might want to look at it this way. I'm not telling y'all what to do, but look at this. And it need to be, it need to come from a trusted source, because a lot of these people are not looking at CBS and CNN as a trusted source, and definitely not nobody like Fox. So you need more people that are just like savvy, and somebody that's willing to give that time to the community and to the culture like that.
Definitely.
Okay. Now I
Yeah.
have a question. This is going to go deeper on the question of Twitter.
Okay.
Now, as what I know of black people, and me being black as well, we trust the church as one to give us the information. I mean, we there's a place where church sticks, and if a leader in church says something, we tend to follow what they say because of the church. And this is apples and oranges. Now, there's a group of young people who are fanatics of Black Twitter. Information that comes into Black Twitter to them is right, because remember what we've talked about before. The truth, as we've talked about these hashtags that were going on, these were hashtags that gave out the truth. They brought trust in what people talked about. All these hashtags and the information that was brought up was day raw information that you disseminate, you just look at, and you're like, yes, this is the truth here, right? It brings a sense of you believe whatever comes off of Black Twitter. when it comes to now the elections, and when we try and give out information, how are we going to create this level of trust that we have for the church leader, who we look at as being the who's giving you the truth? And I'm going to say that in parentheses, the truth, when they're speaking on something, because like you said, capitalism still exists and some type of influences may be there. And Black Twitter, how are we going to make sure that, or how are we going to tell this youth that, okay, we have Black Twitter here, it gives you the truth, however, such and such truths may not be what you're seeing, because it could be infiltrated by people who have other means to tell you something different. Because like you said, and not all kinfolk is kinfolk, right?
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Consistent. I mean, we just really need to be oh man. Let me grace, mercy, empathy, understanding, love. These things need to exist when we're fighting the fight. Granted, we need to be logical and very militant to a degree when it comes to how this information is being received, because we can get the information right, but it's another step of it when we go, it's other steps to it. Like, we got to put the information to play. We got to keep the information going. We got, we have to, rinse, repeat, see if this works, see if it doesn't work, retreat back to it. All of these things, like, but in the midst of all of that, it need to be a lot of love, grace, understanding, peace, all of that. That those things need to exist. A lot of situations, not even a fraction of what I just mentioned, exists in these spots. The church house. When I think of the church house, I'm I'm thinking of love. I'm thinking of grace. I'm thinking of mercy. I'm thinking about finding out about my community. Learning how to be neighborly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these things need to exist for information to stick with these kids. It need to be examples of it. Like, I need to see the deacon, you know what I'm saying? I ain't telling the deacon to be on the basketball court every day, but you know what I'm saying? Like, kick it with us. See what the business
Okay.
is with us. Like, it's those type of things. Like, show those type of things, and that will build up enough trust, or even to the point, if somebody has a doubt, that they will go back to the officials of the Black church and be like, "Hey, I got a question about this. I'm not sure about this. Can you guide me through this?" I guarantee you, a real person that's in the church, the pastor, deacon, or whatever, he might pull the Bible out on you, but for the most part, he gonna talk to you like he a human being right along with you. And I feel like that and a lot of other things add the trust value, which insinuates love, and on one side love, the other side being logical.
Okay.
Okay.
Me and this,
Okay.
what, me and this love stuff. Me and this, kumbaya. Here kumbaya,
You really are.
kumbaya Al.
I mean, not cool, but oh Lord. Oh, we love that about you.
Listen, somebody got to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody got to do it, and outside of somebody got to do it, man. Somebody just got to live that life. Somebody got
Okay.
to stand in it, man. And I'm still learning to this day to stand in that type of action. That's why, like, education is real important to me. That's why I really just,
Definitely.
yeah, understanding, like, really being logical, just really having empathy and grace for people. Yeah, think about it. Like, we on Twitter, man, but it's a lot of people that don't that are not on Twitter, let alone excuse me, let alone get the information that they need to get. People don't have internet like that. People don't have TVs like that. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are missing this information. So, you know, and that's just a small fraction of what I'm talking about. So, if somebody just doesn't know, I don't like to be like, yo, this is ignorant. You should know this. I try to come with some type of grace and mercy and give them a some education on it.
That's true. I mean, you mentioned that you're scrolling Twitter as though it were your news, but for some people in some communities, that's all they have. Like you said, they don't have an internet package with the TV package and all that like we have, that we are blessed to have. So literally whatever they see scrolling through, that is their everything, you know.
That's the Bible. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, especially some poor people with the Obama plans or whatever they call them in your neck of the woods. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you know how much misinformation is, you know what I'm saying? There's it's easy for somebody like to be strolling on something and be like, Obamacare not good. Oh, okay. Well, I ain't, when they ain't even did the logistics of it. It's easy.
Yeah, they actually
So,
have Obama phones. I don't know if that's a regional thing or what, but yeah, it's a whole Obama phone plan situation, and I'm like, not even kidding. Like it's literally called that.
Obama phone. Wow.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay, we didn't got off onto some regional stuff.
Oh yeah.
all right, we
Oh man. Okay.
Ed says we first need a strong black agenda. Then we need to hold some political parties accountable to enforce or pass laws that benefit us. Otherwise, our voting is senseless. That's true.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for the comment.
So even with that, shouts out to Ed Campbell for the great commentary on this.
Hmm.
He's been doing some real stuff. But like even with that, somebody needs to break it down in simplest form. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to this political world, they be throwing a lot of language out there that a lot of people don't understand. So you need somebody that can explain it, you know what I'm saying, thoroughly. Not saying that they got, I mean, break it down to ABC 1, 2, 3. But we need somebody
Yeah.
that could do that. And I think if people would do that a little bit more that hold these positions, it would kind of spark some thought and be like, oh man, that made sense what he said. All right, so this is
Mhm.
what my community needs. Like my area code needs this, and this. And we're going to go by it by this, and this, which makes the councilman understand, okay, they understand what they want and they're really making the efforts to do it.
Mhm.
So then that's how, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think just breaking it down to simplest forms, man, and just making people understand, not making people feel excluded from the conversation of the politics. So yes, like
Mhm.
we need to break that thing down, man. And I think if we break it down and truly break it down, we can build some type of agenda for starters. Sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Tiffany Bird Batty says people will take social information as truth instead of researching the information on a
Mm.
standard and trusted platform, which is
Absolutely.
what I
Okay.
was saying, what it was going on.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I
Right.
totally agree on that.
Yeah.
So, Jen, we were trying to get something to do with personal experience. I don't know if Al may have something to talk about that. Any personal experience you had off of Black Twitter that has influenced your perspective, work, and life in general.
Um, oh man, a lot. Listen, I mean, my that's remember I told y'all I had kind of pulled back from Twitter a little bit. Like I pulled
Mhm.
back because I was thinking that my I felt like me promoting on Twitter wasn't beneficial.
Okay.
A lot of my business comes through Facebook.
Hmm.
which I absolutely hate. Don't I dislike Facebook with all my heart because it's nothing but a family reunion and class reunion, and I don't be having the time for all that. I'd be like, whatever.
And people want to turn it into this business thing, like you say, and apparently it's lucrative for some people. So
On Twitter?
on
No,
Facebook,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
but
definitely.
it's turned in, from that reunion into this lucrative, business thing we keep
Yeah,
hearing about. Yeah.
and it looks weird too. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, whatever. So I definitely be like corner eyeing Facebook. But
mhm.
so I did a like an analysis a while back and realized that I don't get a lot of business from Twitter, but I have made a lot of connections outside of my region from Twitter. So I've found communities that I rock with that have been very beneficial and make me really enjoy it. And one of the things is when it comes to hip hop, like I do feel like the type of hip hop that I love is not necessarily prominent around here. So I don't really have those conversations with my peers here about the type of hip hop that I listen to.
Hmm.
Um or the consciousness of it. I mean, even with the Florida music, you know what I'm saying? Like I can talk to people outside of my region about Florida music eh, that I can't have them conversations with the people that's next door to me or in my backyard. So I've built a lot of like relationships from Twitter, you know what I'm saying, and met a lot of people from everywhere. Like I got people that I follow from California. They follow me, I'm in Florida, North Carolina, I mean shit, St. Louis, you know what I'm saying? St. Louis, Texas. I've met a lot of people on Twitter and I'm still in these communities, like thoroughly in these communities that's thriving. And they respect my thoughts, my
Hmm.
contribution to the hip hop world. They don't treat me like, oh well, it's just some old down south, guy that knows da 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 da. Like they really value my opinion. They know that I'm in the trenches with it, and I built a lot of like friendships and relationships within these communities and on Twitter. So I think that's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's like free promotion, free advertisement, you know what I'm saying? So that's just one of the many things that yeah, that I've experienced on Twitter for sure.
Definitely.
Oh, Ed has a thought here. He
Okay.
says you have two choices. Choose one. Choose one. Choose one. Devil or Satan. This is my thoughts. These are my thoughts. This is my thoughts on voting, except on local level. Get to know your alderman, city council, mayor, etc. Which is very true because everything starts from down there. We look uh, at the state representatives, but everything starts from the local council going up forward, which is very, very important.
Yeah. I mean, even from the presidency, man, like we be so focused on the presidency. I'm like, we need to be focused on the governor.
Hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? Because the governor goes and all the governors go to the White House and all the other stuff, and they do that, and then they come home and the president just be like, all right, well, you know, and then the governor come back and rule over the whole state.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, we need to be paying attention. When we thinking about presidency, we need to be thinking about the governor. When we think about the governor, we think about the mayor. We think about the mayor, we think about the city councils. You
Right.
think about the city councils, you need to be thinking about, the people that run the HOA at your neighborhoods and you
Even the
think,
district attorney, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, we seen I my little dibble dabble into activism with the Ferguson situation. We were literally able to push out a district attorney that was really at the crux of the situation with Mike Brown,
wow,
and
that's good.
he was in office for over 25 plus years and move him out after what happened with Michael Brown, just on the strength of community and a truly grassroots campaign. Whatever you think about that guy now, obviously he's trying to move his political career in a different direction and things like that. But that moment in time, that will forever be historic because it has never been done before. You know what I mean? What Cori Bush has done, shutting down a family dynasty, whether black or white, to just make that kind of change. If Michael Brown didn't happen, we wouldn't have had that kind of change in this city. So, I mean, things, there's power behind that for sure.
Right.
I didn't even know that the railroad commissioner was a very powerful position
Yeah.
in Texas.
Okay.
I had no idea. I thought it was just some railroad, but it comes with some power.
It really does. And when you think about like small towns and stuff like that, oh man, look, don't even get me started. Okay, we're wrapping it up because we're already like way
I think
over.
you have the last word regarding this other question
Oh,
that I had. Yeah.
well, I think I missed my props. So, yeah. So, okay. So, Twitter has been rebranded as X, as we all now know, even though we keep calling it Twitter. But there was a rebrand to X. What do you see for the future of our Black Twitter?
Oh man. I mean the same things that's going on. I mean I think we good for a moment. I think everything's gonna stay afloat. We're still gonna have our jokesters on Twitter. We're still gonna have a lot of influencers on Twitter. Um, Journalism would definitely stay the same. Um, I know within the past couple months, and I know I keep referencing journalism and communications because I just love it. I mean, I love it outside of me being, degreed in it. Um, but journalism, man, it's just really exposed. I don't want to say exposing. It's just really giving light to how things move, and how things work. And with the layoffs of all these journalists in the journalism world, like the way that it's giving light on like how things work via Twitter is like tremendous. Like, of course, HR would never tell us the type of things that why this is happening, this, that, and the third. You have people that are really being activists in the journalism world that are like letting people know, like, watch out for this, that, and the third, giving empathy, giving care, all this other stuff. So, if anything, I do feel like journalism would get 10 times stronger. And a lot of people will reference that a lot more versus their typical. I'm not saying stop reading your local papers. Now, definitely find out what's going on in your local spots. But in regards to Twitter, you're going to see a lot of like prominent journalism or journalists giving the great work or whatever. And also, I mean, we had a documentary, Black Twitter.
Mhm.
Uh,
Speak on it.
Speak on it.
Yep.
Our thoughts?
Oh, I no, I thought it was great. I know we had a conversation in our room about it. Um, I didn't expect for it to be this big dialogue or this thesis of a thing or whatnot, but I think it was great to show that Black Twitter definitely exists and like the influence that it has.
Totally.
Um, I think it was simple as that. I mean, can we go back and talk about a little bit more some other things? Possibly, possibly could. You know what I'm saying? But I think it gave a great awareness of like what Twitter stands for, what it is, how you can treat it as a funny thing, how you can really get a very good lesson of like, activism and really being hyper black or whatever you want to call it. Like, that it's a source that's there for us. So I think that documentary was a great thing. Um, okay, so with that, I will say the awareness of Black Twitter will probably grow. So with that, I think some other avenues of Black Twitter might grow too, but it's
Mhm.
just a matter of people getting on board, like people finally getting a Twitter account and really following the people. So I think that stock is going to probably go up a little bit more. But as far as like what's going on now, I think it's just going to be a steady type of thing. Even with the elections coming up, I think it's gonna kind of pass. We're gonna do our thing for it, stand up for it, not stand for it, and keep it moving.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Sambaza, you have any?
favorite part. This is where my favorite part comes in, and we got to go back, and I'm going to give you some time to talk about yourself, because we did not get to hear a lot about yourself. So this is kind of like your part to say who you are, and then give us your hashtags of how we can find you, or
Okay.
your you know how we can find you, so to speak, when we try to get a hold of you and want to listen to your words and listen to whatever you have to speak. And you were in the community, heavy in the community. So please speak on it, and let's hear from you now.
All right, so um, I'm a cool neighbor. I am in the community, in the subdivision, and wherever. I am the cool neighbor. I am the guy that be chilling, making sure that everything is cool and peace with each and everyone around me in the environments. I'm the one that likes to have fun. Escapism has been one of my things lately. So I do that, through my music, whether I'm rapping about it or I'm DJing about it. I just love music. That's the second thing. Well, that's the first thing I love, my music. So I have a thing that I love to do where I love to like evoke uh emotion, good emotions, make people thinking this, that, and the third. So I'm that guy. Um, I'm that neighbor that loves hard. I'm that neighbor that really gives empathy to a lot of things that people don't necessarily give it to. So I make sure that I do that through my network, NPN network, through my various outlets, podcasting, blogging, journalism, with my radio show. Like I try to tell stories within those things. So I am the cool neighbor. Um, that's the answer that I have. But when it comes to the other things to promote myself, of course, Mr. Al Pete, the NPN network, the founder of it, uh, avid lover of hip hop. Love my music, but I definitely love hip hop. Hip hop, soul, funk, media professional, um, podcaster, all the great things. So that's who I am, to the world, and hopefully y'all dive in and check your folk out, man.
For
And
sure.
your
Thank you
social.
for sharing that.
Oh, the
So your
socials.
social will be, yeah.
Socials, MrAlPete.com. That's my personal website. My NPN management is npn-llc.com. Um, Mr. Al Pete on everything, basically. Instagram, Twitter. Now, Twitter, I finally the irony of all of this shit, right? I have Mr. Al Pete. I had that. In 2022, it got suspended for whatever reason. I had to make a new account. So I made another account, which is Mr. Al Pete MPN. Like a couple months ago, I tried to I was like, let me try to get my other one back. I finally got it back. So now I have two Twitters out there.
Oh.
So if you type in Mr. Al Pete, it's gonna the old one will pop up, but the one that I'm on all the time is the Mr. Al Pete MPN.
Oh, I
But
don't
you
know if I
can,
knew that.
man, let me tell you something, man. Man, I was being so capitalistic off the shit. I was like, man, I got over 5,000 followers. Da, 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 like, and you gonna cancel me? What? Like I felt like there's a movement. I'm like, ah. So it got canceled, and I had to work my way back up, man. So it was
Huh.
just weird, man. I think somebody reported me. That's all. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
wow.
And that's
Well,
what
That's what it is.
happened.
Okay.
interesting.
Very interesting. The irony, all of that. Of me loving Black
Well,
Twitter, I guarantee you somebody from Black Twitter probably got me suspended. I'm sure of that.
Oh, no.
hey, at least now I know
Okay.
I don't need a username and password to go in there. I just
You
need to
know
know the
what?
hashtag.
Stop.
And Maza, you already got your username and password. You are good to go. Listen, follow me and follow Jen. We will guide you. You'll fall right into Black Twitter. You
Hey,
won't even know it.
hey, you're
Okay.
right about that.
The comments about
Oh, Ed Campbell says here, the media is controlled and most news
oh,
is traumatized. They only report the dark side, not the bright side of the black man and the blacktastic works many of us are doing. Yeah, which is true. And like I said, when
Absolutely.
you
okay.
highlight the plate thing, low vibrational plate we're talking about, those kind of things bring out the fun in it, and people realize that there's another side to it, not what they want to show us. Yeah, read the final call, see positive things going on in our communities. It's an honest newspaper. Final call. That's the newspaper there. You've heard about it?
Yeah, that's the Nation of Islam's. The brothers on the corner with the bean pies and
Oh,
selling final calls. I think that's the rap line. I don't know. Maybe it's a regional thing, but I know in my city, you
oh,
drive through the certain neighborhoods, you might see a brother on the corner with some newspapers in his hand, and he might
Right.
have a bean pie tucked up under. They don't do it so much no more, but back in the day, them bean pies were.
Slanging them.
oh.
Oh, we have a
Mhm.
request, Al. Wait a minute.
He already did. I thought he was starting when he started. I am the neighbor. So y'all drop
Oh,
drop
I
a
didn't
few
see
bars.
that. Drop a
Okay.
few bars. Oh
Yeah,
man.
let's have it.
I'm gonna try real quick,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna try not
All right.
mess up. Let's see.
The floor is yours. Let's go. You need a beat?
Nah,
You know
nah. All
what?
right, all right. Let me see.
You
Let
are
me see. All
so
right,
silly.
all right. Damn. Not really trying to understand this game niggas is playing. I'm here with my machine ready for slaying. It's quite clear like summer day sky that guy, never had to try to be another nigga. I'm just a colored figure. These hooks that I throw put me above the rimmer, keep me with tougher brimmers, label as Mr. Dimmer. Cause I could take anything similar to me out of the light. I got them Ray Charles bars, keep them out of my sight. The grind game so thorough, keep me out of the plight, you dig? One of my many forms of laceration. Been fishing before I threw the cast in. I'm saying, hella train till it's time to weigh in. And when the W get the W, we gonna be Chardonnaying. We speaking on the GF feed the results. All the heifers want to BF me, and all the rapper guys gonna say that he helped me get off his ass because his hat's a BLT. Good morning. Damn, I messed that one up. But anyway,
What? Come
Yay.
on. Hey, that
Thanks,
was lit.
Al.
thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And
You
Ed
have
Campbell says in respect.
Indeed,
okay. All
indeed.
right. Like I wouldn't even gonna put you on the spot like that.
I know, right? That was cool though. That was some good exercise for sure.
Okay. Thanks for being a good sport.
Indeed,
And
indeed.
thank you for sharing the information. We will have those links posted on the audio episode that will be up very soon. And you can check out this replay again, but we will have the audio episode in all those places where you can find your podcast. If you made it this far, please subscribe and like, tell a friend, share. We appreciate you checking out the content. And hopefully, something in today's conversation inspired or enlightened you. And if you found it meaningful, we appreciate those shares. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. And we hope that you stay tuned for more engaging content. Any additional thoughts, Sambaza?
Uh, well, I now know for sure I don't need a username and password to get into
You know
hashtag
what?
Black.
Stop it. Stop
But
it.
I think this has been a great conversation from the fact that we have covered all aspects, if I may say, from family to politics to entertainment, all in one conversation regarding a hashtag. And I think that's very important to our listeners
Okay.
and our viewers to realize that, hey, there's something about this hashtag Black Twitter.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And then, do you want to play our trailer
Oh yeah.
thing again before we go out? Okay, it's really short, guys. Since we have a few people checking it out, we do have a visual that we created to kind of highlight and mark the moment in time of Arjun and Sambaza collaboration. So, okay, check it out. Let's see. Yay. All right.
I love that music, man.
Thanks. Sabaza
Great
picked out
job.
the music.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And
Want to share that. I guess this is the first time we're sharing it. So, we'll, do some more quality checks on it to make sure, it's good. But I mean, I think, you know,
I like it. And Ed
okay.
Campbell 100% fire emojis, gems, and muscle. Yeah.
Yay. All right. Shout out. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the
And actually,
support.
let me say we do appreciate you, Ed, for the questions. Those were very great questions and interactions. Also, Tiffany, I do appreciate your questions as well. We need these questions. We interact with each other. As we interact, we have extra questions, some of which we may not have at that time. So, thank you. Thank you.
We definitely appreciate the engagement for sure. Miss Tiffany, salute, gratitude. Gratitude. Al, any additional thoughts? We appreciate you for being a good sport. You could have been like, look here, I didn't come here for that.
Nah, that was cool, man. That was cool. I enjoyed it, man. That was good. That was good.
Okay, cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
So, well, Al has actually been on Walk by Accident before. I should have that number handy, but we'll have it in the notes. But so we glad you came back with Sambaza here to chop it up with us, and you're welcome here anytime. So appreciate that.
Indeed, I appreciate y'all, man.
We still have another project upcoming with you, Al, and some other people too, from the C4 Collective.
Man, we got a couple of them, but
Man,
listen, I'm down for it. That's all. Just know y'all got my back. So, well, I got y'all back. Whichever one it is.
We're very thankful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Al, will you stick around for us to give us your proper good evening, and we are going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you guys for sharing in the content with us, and you guys take care.